The scene opens, and there's a man in a blue-gray business suit walking down the street, holding an axe. We see his legs moving in neat V's, step on step, gliding over the pavement in the morning light. Cut to his office, and we see the axe colliding with the dark laminate of his desk. Papers fly in slow motion everywhere, falling leaves of white, yellow, and manila. The first blow hardly pierces the desktop, but the second sends splinters peeling away from a wound that the blade tears open with a dull crack. The third impact begins in a wide arc, the man knocking down a shelf behind him as he raises the axe, before colliding once more with the desk, this time tearing another hole wide in the surface panel. Flash to a pair of horrified secretaries standing at the door, a man behind them dialing a phone to reach the extension for building security. Smash cut to the businessman's eyes, alive with that inchoate dream madness that drives him to smash the axe over and over till his office is in smithereens. Binders splay like slain birds all over the carpet, and keyboard keys come flying from their rows and skitter like shrapnel against the walls. Over and over and over, crashing in mounting intensity, then interrupted by anxious stillness. The man walks out of the office, lays the axe neatly leaning against the door frame, and turns to face his co-workers, huddled at their workstations. There's a pregnant pause, and he parts his lips as if to say something, but reconsiders and makes his way to the double doors of the exit. He turns up the hallway, but hears footsteps approaching on the linoleum up the corridor and decides to turn into a stairwell to exit out the back. He disappears, his feet clattering down the concrete, echoing distant down the 7 stories to the ground floor. Now we see the man again, laying awake at night. His sleeping wife is beside him. He silently reproaches himself for how obvious his fantasy is, playing out wordlessly as he lays still in the dark. He sits up, careful not to wake her, and walks quietly into the other room. From his window, he can see a TV glow in an apartment building across the street, the sole star on the skyline, besides the orangey glow of a street lamp up the road and on the corner. He doesn't turn on the light. He just stands there in the dark, waiting. It's 3 a.m., and I'm drifting off in front of the television, dreaming feedback between black and white reruns. I change the channel, an infomercial fills the dark with noise and color. I get up and I walk to the kitchen. I can smell rice I'd cook for dinner, caked in a saucepan on the stove. From my window, I can see the wall of the graveyard, the leaves of a maple diffusing a halogen bulb and casting shadows back up onto my face. I can't sleep, so I just stand there, waiting in the dark. It's a little past noon now, and I'm sitting in a geo-tracker on the side of the road in North Versailles. I listen to a white bluesman on the radio and raise my telephoto lens to gaze between 2 low-slung ranch houses up at the end of the cul-de-sac. An old man walks back around to the front yard to bring bags of leaves to the curb. Click, 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 and I have him bending over at 100 yards. He's raking leaves now, back arched, exhibiting a much wider range of movement than alleged in his insurance claim. Photos won't establish anything on the account of his pain and suffering, but they would show he's much hardier after the accident than his lawyers would claim.
The yard work shots are money in the bank, and I raise the lens to fire off another volley when he ambles back over and behind the house. I crane my neck and try to see if I still have it, but I can't see him now. Wondering if I can work my way around the back to find him again, I get out of the car and hide behind a parked Pontiac Aztec, hiding from no eyes in particular. I jog up around the corner and tuck my camera in the crook of my arm like a clutch as I make for the next section of subdivision. I duck under some pines, pick up some mulch, and cross from the lawn back onto the cement lip of the pathway. I take a bad fall on the pavement. My shoelace catches the curb and slides beneath the sole, and the concrete edge catches my knee and tears a wide gash across as my leg falls beneath me. I scramble up, and the rush of blood and pain gives me 50 quick paces, trying to walk it off. I don't want to look at it. I know seeing will make it worse, but another pulse of heat and wet pouring down my leg makes me turn my eyes to the wound. It looks bad, a big red river gushing down into my sandal. Damn. I reach down out of reflex and it paints my palm. There's a woman up the street watering her lawn. She's leaning against a green Nissan, smoking a cigarette, holding the rubber hose sort of limply. Whether or not she's surprised by the blood pouring down the sidewalk, I can't tell. Her eyes are hidden behind fit-over shades, and her thin red lips stay pursed around the butt end of her cigarette. I ask her if I could trouble her for maybe some water and a bandage. She says she doesn't have a bandage, but she would give me a towel. I follow her inside, trying not to bleed too much in the carpeted entryway. She has a kind of zoffany parlor, plaster busts and bone china and bright little pictures on the wall. There's a Tiffany beer lamp on a dark maple side table, making a dusky kind of light. She brings me to the powder room, and I lean against the vanity to wash the blood away. She leaves me to it while she gets a dish towel from the kitchen. I sit on the toilet, pressing a wad of toilet paper up against the cut. I called a plumber to stake the drain, she says. She says, can I take a look at it? She says that it's downstairs in the basement. I blink, and I'm in the basement. I blink, and I'm in my car. I blink, and it's night, and I'm dreaming once again.